Why is it important to have a large group of individuals insured?
A.
Larger the group, the more accurate statistical assumptions will become. Yep. And what is that called?
Is that law of numbers or?
hmm Yep. Law of large
Okay.
numbers. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Good. The tendency of poorer risks to continue and for better risks to drop or seek coverage elsewhere is called.
Is it A?
It is A, adverse selection. Yep. Good. The example I used yesterday was health insurance, right? Somebody that's 18, young, healthy, never uses the doctors, they're not going to run and get insurance, right? Versus somebody that uses their insurance on a weekly or monthly basis, they're going to make sure that they have insurance, right? So the tendency of poorer risk to continue. That person that is actively using their insurance more frequently is going to continue to get insurance. Which of the following is a loss in which the covered peril is the immediate cause of damage to the property?
E, direct loss.
Good. The direct cause of loss. Yep. Which one of those answer choices are the same thing?
Would it be consequential?
Consequential and what?
So indirect loss and consequential loss.
Uh-huh. Yep. They're the two. Remember, I said there's a lot of words that are different words, but they mean exactly the same thing. So indirect and consequential are exactly the same thing. So you have direct loss or indirect loss, direct loss or consequential loss, right? They're the same thing. Yet another hint you can kind of use on the exam day. That kind of gives you a 50-50 shot, right? It can't be consequential and it can't be indirect. They're the same thing, right? So you kind of have yourself down to a 50-50 shot, right? Can't be either one of those. They're exactly the same answer. Substantial loss is a throwaway answer, right? It's only indirect or direct, right? So the immediate cause of damage is going to be your direct loss. The concept of restoring individuals to the same financial position they were in before a loss occurred is called
Would it be D, indemnification?
indemnification. Yep. And if you read through these other options, you can see exactly what we were talking about here with the other ones. There's a lot of answers here that probably seem more obvious, right? Reimbursement. That sounds like the concept of reimbursing somebody, right? Getting them back to the same financial position. You're reimbursing them, right? But don't go for the obvious answer, go for the term of what it is, right? That's called indemnification. All of the following are a producer's responsibility to the insured, except for this one, think the producer will be you, right? When you start working, you are the producer. And they mean this very literal.
E, as in boy.
Yep,
Yeah.
good. You yourself as the producer are not going to be paying the claims, right? That's not coming out of your pocket, right? You will be analyzing coverage needs, right? Determining what the client needs. You will be serving the best interest of the insured, right? What does your client need? Forwarding premiums to the insurer on a timely basis. We talked about that yesterday, right? That if you use the money for a personal loan, right, you go and grab lunch on the client's dime. That's a misappropriation of funds, right? You always want to make sure those premiums go directly into the account, right? You're not actually paying the claims yourself. Under the law of the agency, the producer is the agent and the insurance company is the
E, principal.
principal. Exactly. Yep. Which type of authority holds that a producer may have whatever authority a reasonable person would assume the producer has?
Would it be A?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So A and A, right? A parent goes with assume, right? Whatever the general public would assume the producer can do is apparent, right? So express is anything that's what?
In writing.
In writing, exactly, right? Anything that you do as a producer, right? Solicit applications, sell policies, collect premiums, earn commission, anything that you do as a producer is in writing, right? It's in your contract, that's express. Implied is more like you're walking around with business cards, you're walking around with a State Farm shirt, right? More marketing stuff. And then apparent associate with the word assume, right? A and A. Stated is a throwaway answer. That's not a type of directive. There's only three. An agency relationship requires the producer and the principal to do
A.
A. Yep. I was going to say, think about who the producer is and who the principal is. I know it's not obvious when you're reading through it, but once I say it, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. So the producer is you, right? Or the agent. Remember I said those terms are kind of used interchangeable here, right? So Scott Morris, State Farm, or John Smith, State Farm, right? That's the producer or the agent, right? And then the principal is the insurance company, right? So State Farm. So the producer is creating a contract, right? You're not issuing a policy that says Kayla auto policy, right? It's State Farm, right? You're writing that policy on behalf of the principal, right? So it makes a little bit more sense when you put the actual who it is to the words here. The producer has the authority to accept or reject risks. We are going to talk about underwriting either today or tomorrow. That'll make a little bit more sense. Once we talk about underwriting, it has to kind of go through a process. So you at that first kind of line of interaction, you're not making that decision right off the bat if the person's accepted or not, right? It has to kind of go through the chain of command. Which statement about a person in a pure risk situation is true?
It would be A, right?
It would be A, exactly, right? Pure means that you can only lose. What answer choice there defines speculative?
D.
D, he can win or lose, right? Gambling, right? There's a chance you could win, but there's a chance you could lose, but there's also a chance you could win, right? Making speculative risks not insurable. Which method of risk management is used when a person chooses not to drive because of the risk of having an automobile accident?
C.
C, avoidance, right? They're completely refraining from even doing it, right? They're just not driving at all. They're completely avoiding it. All of the following risks are insurable except those that are
B, speculative.
speculative, right? There's only pure and speculative, right? So really, that's the only answer choice, right? They're the only two types of risk, pure and speculative. Predictable, measurable, they're all elements of risk, but they're not types of risk, right? You only have pure and speculative. Purchasing boat owner's insurance is an example of which method of handling risk?
Be D, right?
It would be D, yep. So when you think about this one, remember there are 5 different types of handling risk. And if you can remember that acronym, always remember shoes, run, track, right? So it's avoidance, retention, sharing, always remember shoes, run, reduction, thank you. Avoidance, reduction, sharing, transfer, retention. I think that's it. So when it comes to retention, that's the opposite of transfer, right? So retention is somebody is being self-insured, right? They're retaining that risk themselves. Transfer is they're transferring that risk from themselves onto the insurance company. And this is exactly what will happen on the exam. They're throwing in boat owners. Right away, if you're taking the exam, somebody could panic, right? Oh, I don't know. I never talked about boat owners. I don't know. You can't panic with that stuff, right? They're gonna throw that stuff in there to trip you up. It doesn't matter if it's boat owners, homeowners insurance, auto insurance, it doesn't matter, right? It's the concept of purchasing insurance is transfer, right? You're transferring it from yourself onto the insurer. Doesn't matter what type.